Decision 2012, it's considered the toughest sentencing law in the country, and tomorrow California voters will decide whether to make changes to the three strikes law.
NBC Bay Area's Monte Francis has a look at how that law would change and the emotionally charged arguments on both sides.
Madeline Blockson has spent the last 15 years as an inmate at the Central California Women's Facility in Chowchilla. She just turned 60, and this year she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, which has spread to her bones.
The time should fit the crime. It's just not right.
Blockson's first and second strikes were both felonies, robbery and burglary. Then in 1997, she stole some batteries and cigarettes from a grocery store. It was a petty theft, and even though her crimes were not violent, it was her third strike, and it meant she would have to spend the next 25 years to life behind bars.
And unless this law changes, either I'm going to die in this prison, or I'll get a chance to do some of the things I never gave myself the opportunity to do before.
24 other states also have three strikes laws, but California is the only state where the third strike does not have to be a serious or violent felony, which is why California's version of the law is considered the harshest in the country. The story of California's three strikes law begins in Fresno in 1992, when an ex-felon shot and killed 18-year-old Kimber Reynolds while attempting to steal her purse. At the hospital, her father, a local wedding photographer, watched as his only daughter slipped away.
I literally was holding her hand while she was dying, and I made a promise to her that I would do everything I could to try to prevent this from happening to another kid.
Mike Reynolds kept that promise to his daughter by authoring Three Strikes, which was signed into law in 1994. Reynolds says Prop 36 would weaken what he proudly boasts is the toughest crime law in the nation.
This has provided a greater level of safety to virtually every citizen in this state.
There are currently 8,800 prisoners statewide serving life sentences under three strikes. About half of them are serving life for a third strike that was nonviolent or minor. Prop 36 would require the third strike to be a serious or violent felony, and if it passes, those 4,000 prisoners could have their sentences reduced. Supporters of the measure claim it could save the state up to $200 million a year. But Reynolds says almost 2 decades of three strikes has led to a dramatic statewide drop in crime. He warns of a crime wave if Prop 36 passes.
This is giving twice convicted serious and violent offenders a new opportunity to go out and do more serious and violent crime.
Kelly Turner spent 13 years at the Central California Women's Facility before her case was overturned on a technicality.
In 1988, I committed a robbery with a toy gun. In 1992, I caught a set of car keys. And in 1997, I forged a check at a department store and received 25 to life.
Turner hopes Prop 36 will give to Blockson the same freedom she now enjoys.
I think that her sentence has been commuted to the death penalty if this proposition does not pass. For such a minor offense, it's truly heartbreaking.
You know, I understand Mr. Reynolds' dilemma with his, you know, with his family and the brutal crime that happened. But everybody didn't do that to him.
Since in prison, Blockson says she has overcome a drug addiction, cleaned up her life, and been commended for good deeds. But if she and other nonviolent offenders are looking for sympathy, they won't find it from the man who helped put three strikes on the books.
Why in the world would you go do some shoplifting when you knew very clearly that you could be facing a 25 to life sentence under California's three strikes law?
Blockson says if she could go back and change the past, she would.
I don't want to die behind these walls. I don't want to die behind these walls. That's it.
A heartfelt plea and a father's promise, and a decision now in the hands of voters. In Chowchilla, Monte Francis, NBC Bay Area News.
Now, just to make sure that we are clear, Prop 36 only applies to offenders who've committed non-violent crimes. That would exclude anyone with a conviction for a sex crime or for a major drug deal. Also, a judge would have to sign off on any sentence that is reduced. The most recent polls show 63% of California voters do support Prop 36. Well, President Obama